What's up, guys? I'm out here working. Got me right. Let's see what's going on here.
I really believe it. I just don't see how you can be. So let's bring the things it's going to be. I'm going to be speaking to John and to Mike and to Chuck and to everybody. We have that right turn just at that time. And the audience, 55,000 feeling this way. There were just a few people in the back on the bleachers. There was nobody over there except for my all-time favorite chart in history. A chart on immigration. Immigration saved my life, see? So we're going to be good for immigration, okay? But had I not made that turn, boom, and quickly, it was almost as though a deer bolted. You know, they say the only way you miss when you're a good shot is if it bolts. I bolted. I turned to the right to look at the chart, and I said, wow, what was that? What was that? So you never know, but God
take his head off.
Did that. I mean, it had to be. The chances of turning, there's no reason to turn to the right. You know, the chart is rarely brought down. I brought it down maybe 20%, and 20% of the time. And it's never on my right, it's always on my left. And it's always at the end of the speech, never the beginning of the speech. And if I was a little more than that 90-degree angle,
where's the mailbox?
It would be no good. And if I was a little less, it would be no good. It had to be perfect. Thing went right along the edge.
Find your mailboxes?
It didn't affect my hair. Can you believe it? Might have touched it, but not where it counts. Not the skin part.
So that's got to be a central area.
But honestly, it's a mirror. It changed something in me. I feel even stronger. I believed in God, but I feel much more strongly about it. Something happened. So thank you. Thank you. But that event, like the tragedy last week, should remind us all that we have to make the most out of every single day that we have. Who would think that you're in space and two things collide? The odds of that happening are so small, even without proper control. We should have had the proper control. We should have had better equipment. We don't. We have obsolete equipment. They were understaffed for whatever reason. I guess the helicopter was high, and we'll find out exactly what happened. But the odds, even if you had nothing, if you had nobody, the odds of that happening are extremely small. It's like, did you ever see, you go to a driving range in golf and you're hitting balls, hundreds of balls, thousands of hours. I never see a ball hit another ball. Balls going up all over the place. You never see them hit. It was amazing that could happen. There was a lot of mistakes made, and it should have never happened. But regardless of that, it's amazing that it happened. And I think that's going to be used for good. I think what is going to happen is we're all going to sit down and do a great computerized system for our control towers, brand new, not pieced together, obsolete like it is land-based, trying to hook up a land-based system to a satellite system. And the first thing that some experts told me when this happened is you can't hook up land to satellites and you can't hook up satellites to land. It doesn't work. We spent billions and billions of dollars trying to renovate an old broken system instead of just saying, cut it loose and let's spend less money and build a great system done by 2 or 3 companies, very good companies, specialists, that's all it is. They used 39 companies. That means that 39 different hookups have to happen. And I don't know how many people of you are good in terms of all of the kind of things necessary for that. And it's very complex stuff. But when you have 39 different companies working on hooking up, different cities and different people, you need one company with one set of equipment. And there are some countries that have unbelievable air controller systems, and bells would have gone off when that helicopter literally even hit the same height, because it traveled a long distance before it hit. It was just wouldn't stop. Just follow the line. but bells and whistles would have gone off. They have them where it actually could virtually turn the thing around. It would have just never happened.
Didn't
We
play
had
no music
the
out
right
here.
equipment. And one of the things that's going to be, I'm going to be speaking to John and to Mike and to Chuck and to everybody. We have to get together and just, as a single bill, just pass where we get the best control system. When I land in my plane, privately, I use a system from another country because my captain tells me I'm landing in New York and I'm using a system. I won't tell you what country, but I use a system from another country because the captain says this thing is so bad, it's so obsolete, and we can't have that. So we're going to have the best system, and a lot of money, but it's not that much money. And it'll happen fast, and it'll be done by total professionals. And when it's done, you're not going to have accidents. It's just not. They're virtually not possible to have. Each of us is blessed with a precious chance to help lead America to renew our pledges of faith and everything else, and bring us to new heights and create a future of promise for our people and for ourselves. You know, we have the most important people in the country in a true sense here, because you're the ones that are going to make the decision. You're the ones that are leading us into so many different things, whether it's the right air control system or the right size military or what to do and what not to do. Most important people. And many of you are very religious. I know so many of you are very religious, and I just think that our country has been so badly hurt. We're very hurt by what COVID did to religion. It really hurt it badly. People couldn't go to church for a long period of time. Even going outside, they were given a hard time. And I'm not blaming anybody for that, but it was very hard to gather. So they start using computers, if that. And when they come back, it's just, you know, a whole new experience they have to get used to. But it is starting to come back. We had a fantastic thing happen yesterday. The Army had the best recruitment numbers that they've had in more than 15 years. They think it could be 25 years, actually. They're going to probably put that out, but more than 15 years just now. And we were worried about it. We were talking about it numerous times that, you know, we don't have people joining our military services. We don't have people joining our police force. We have to cherish our police. It's so dangerous. You open a car and somebody starts shooting. They have blackened windows. You don't even have any idea who's in the car. Oftentimes they have the dark windows, which are not, in theory, supposed to have, but they have them. The door opens and a gun is pointed at your face, and you can't do a thing about it. It's just nothing you're going to do about it. Your friends will take them out. And it's happened so many times, but it's such a dangerous thing. We have to cherish these people. So today we join our hearts and prayers in recommitting to putting our country first. We have to put our country first, making America stronger and greater and more exceptional than ever before. And we have to make religion a much more important factor now. We have to make it an important factor. And if we do that, our job is just going to be much easier. It unifies people. It brings people together. Democrats are going to be able to have lunch again and dinner with Republicans. And I remember just as growing up, I'd see, you know, I revered senators and congressmen. It was something very special. But they were out to dinner all the time. We had an old congressman, maybe some of Cy Halpern from Queens. And he was a friend of my father. But he'd have dinner he was a Democrat, he'd have dinner with Republicans, and he'd be out. It wouldn't even make a difference. Today, it's like shocking. And it shouldn't be. You have to get together. We really have to get together. We all know what's right and what's wrong, and there's going to be compromise on both sides. But we have to just do the right thing, and we have to get together. You did it with Marco Rubio. You got everybody who's 99 votes, and the only vote was our VP, who maybe we should have been there just to make it 100. But I think I would have been angered if it was 100. That might be a step too far, right? But no, it was great to see a vote. Pam Bondi had support from Democrats, and some of the others had some pretty good support. So, it's doable. We had a recent bill having to do with a very beautiful young lady who was killed from Georgia. And that bill was very bipartisan. It was a very beautiful thing to watch, actually. And so I think we just have to, if possible, we have to unify. There's big division. I mean, some people want an open border and some people want a closed border. We want it closed and they want it open. And that's a big difference. How do you solve that problem? It's a big difference. Some people want men and women's sports and some people don't. And I was with somebody yesterday who was so upset that the bill was signed where men cannot participate in women's sports. And I said, he's a very smart guy. Went to a great school, was a great student, and he actually feels, that should happen. Men should be able to play, meaning transition into women's sports. And you talk to him and it says, I don't understand it. I don't understand how the problem ever got started in the first place. It just seems so simple. But he's a good person and just believes it. He just believes it. Not going to be easy to convince him otherwise. So where is the middle ground? It's hard to have a middle ground. There's two ways. I mean, you can either do it or you can't. But I think a lot of good things are going to happen. A lot of people might be surprised to hear me say that, of all people, but I think a lot of good things are going to happen because our country's got some big headaches, but we have tremendous spirit right now. The spirit is as high as it's been. It was up 49 points this morning. 49 points. It's the biggest increase in the history of whatever the poll was. So the spirit is there. That's a big factor. That's probably the hardest thing to get back, to be honest. The rest is easy. So I want to just thank you all. I want to congratulate a lot of the new members. I see so many of you that ran great races, David. It was a great race. But so many that ran great races, and on both sides. You ran some incredible races, so it's good to be with you. And God bless everybody. We want to come together, and the happiest person, the element, the everything that's going to be happy. People of religion are going to be happy again. And I really believe you can't be happy without religion, without that belief. I really believe it. I just don't see how you can be. So let's bring religion back. Let's bring God back into our lives. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. Great honor. Thank you.
If it was because of security or what, but something changed in the schedule and nobody was notified. I guess maybe the people who were going, but on the schedule, it had Trump going to and speaking at this event at 9:15. So I was going to go live at 9. And then don't know what happened. Don't have no idea. I know there's 2 events with this. This isn't the breakfast. So maybe perhaps he's going to go from here at the Capitol and go to the breakfast. Very interesting indeed what has happened. I'm going to pull it up so I can show you, so you don't think I overslept or anything, because I was ready for this. All right, so let's continue to watch Trump as he exits the building here until they cut the feed completely, which... All right, so I'm not sure. Let me just show you this, because it's kind of interesting when you look at this, because we may have a second part to all of this. I want to show you, because that was just very weird. All the newspapers, everybody had it at a different time, and then he just decided to walk out. So I'm thinking possibly we may be looking at a second event. I want to show you this. This is the Trump schedule. It's publicized every morning, so people like me and everybody else can begin looking at what's going to be happening. So I want you to see this. Hold on, because there may be something more to this entire event. All right, so I got this situated. Good morning, by the way. have a good morning. Hope you're having a good morning. All right, so I want you to look at this. This is the presidential schedule. And as you can see, it says 6:30. They have their in-town pool. At 7:35, Trump leaves the South Portico, the South Door, arrives at the Capitol at 7:45, and they changed it. Oh, no, there it is. Okay. All right, so 8:15, he just talks here, and then look here, 9:15, he delivers remarks at the actual breakfast. So the actual breakfast is taking place at 9:15. So there's two different, as you see on the schedule, there's two different entries. So from here, he's leaving. It's 8:40. He's on time. He's leaving here to go to the Washington Hilton. At the Washington Hilton, he arrives at 9 o'clock. Then at 9:15, he's having another speaking. And then, of course, as mentioned earlier, he's going to be talking at 2:30 and signing more executive orders. So I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I wasn't nuts. So we're gonna have to do this again because he's going to be speaking at 9:15, just as I thought, and everything should be ready to go at that point. Because there's other speakers speaking right now. There's a Democrat who's speaking. Don't want to hear him. So while we're waiting for him to travel across town so I can get my stuff together as well, I've got a speech that was made. You may not have seen this. This is by J.D. Vance at another religious event that took place. I believe this was yesterday. J.D. Vance had this speech. Let's take a listen. Recording sounding a little echoey, but wasn't my recording. But that was J.D. Vance speaking at another religious event. And what I'm seeing here now is that there's two things going on at the same time in terms of different prayer breakfast events. I'm going to cut to this one because I like this kind of music. Let's take a look at this. You can see the next line, which we're still not allowed to say. All the liberal media outlets have no audience and are kept alive by USAID funding. All their politicians and all their political pundits are paid by USAID to say what the government wants. The whole thing is a house of cards. And Elon goes, yes. So the guy who's digging in.
Introducing the hit product GX4.
The guy who's seen this stuff and is now starting to figure out, wow, this is some crazy stuff that we're seeing. It is letting you know in no uncertain terms, they're done. It's all being exposed. Let me see what this is. Okay, I'll go back to that in a second. But it's happening in real time, and now you have to pick it up. So I'm going to show you some things here. Since you know that now, that they're done, and how you can finish them. For the record, I told y'all, we're past media bias. The United States has a state-sponsored and taxpayer-funded propaganda media, and now thanks to Elon, we can all see the payments in black and white, not blank and white. We can actually see the money moving around, your money moving around all over the place. no excuse anymore for you not to be involved. I'm going to show you here what Bill Ackman has to say. Bill Ackman is referencing this person, Data Republican. Data Republican, from what I understand, is blind, I think deaf and mute. We're talking like Helen Keller type stuff. Not really sure. But severely, except for the fact that she's, or he, is just an immense brain. Says donor advised funds that have been receiving USAID money must be audited now. And he agreed. Bill Ackman, billionaire. Why am I showing you Data Republican? Oh, you'll see here in a second why I'm showing you Data Republican. Well, now we have a queryable database. And so all this stuff you're beginning to see pop up on X is because he or she who runs Data Republican has now put together a queryable database where you now can go looking at all this crap and see it firsthand and begin tracing. And there's so much crap to go through, no one person can do all of this. And so tons of people are querying this, coming up with the information and sharing it. That's where you come in. This is where you become Doge tonight. Mike Cernovich says, I've been going over the database from Data Republican, and we would be living in the future if it weren't for the parasites within USAID, AID, and the nonprofit industrial complex. What makes more sense is they all become multimillionaires on $175,000 salary. Well, that's the next thing that's coming. And you can help, and I'm encouraging you to help. And it's only going to get worse. Only going to get worse. Let that sink in. We've just seen a little bit now. Your mind's going to be blown over the next 7 to 14 days. How do you know? Well, Elon's like, this person, Cremio, says the mother lode is now being tapped for the first but not the last time. This is where the real big savings are. Doge aides search Medicare agency payment systems for fraud. Elon says, yes, this is where the big money fraud is happening. So understand, what we've been seeing in the last couple of days, Elon saying, oh, the big money's over here. Well, what's all this crap we've been seeing right now? That's your appetizer. Wait until you see what we find over here with the Medicare. I can't even imagine the billions that have been funneled through insurance companies and doctors and clinics and all kinds of stuff around the world. Strap in. We're about to take a really bumpy ride. And it's getting bumpier because a lot of people now are just jumping off. I'm done. CFO, Chief Financial Officer of Federal Personnel Office, resigns as Elon-led overhaul shakes up the government. Erica Roach, CFO of the OPM, Office of Personnel Management, is resigning after reportedly being pushed out. Her departure comes as Elon's Department of Government Efficiency takes control of the federal agency under Trump's sweeping government overhaul. Since returning to office, Trump has moved aggressively to shrink the bureaucracy, blah, 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 blah. I'm gone. Yeah, I'm done. Bye. They're jumping ship. I mean, absolutely jumping ship. Now, as you start to look at the Department of Education, and what Elon's doing is telling people where to start looking. The massive increase, okay, the Department of Education began operating in 1980, and you can see how the cost has just gone through the roof. The blue line represents total cost. The orange line represents employees. Way down here, the flat line, that's kids. Those are students. Where's the money going? Massive increase in spending after the Department of Education was created with no actual improvement in education. The education is flatlined. This is the kind of stuff that should whet your appetite to say, show me more. I got to dig in here. This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. So you heard the guy who was screaming at the rally talking about South Africa. Well, it seems as though he hasn't been following the news too much. You see, the G20 is set for South Africa, and Marco Rubio says, I'm not going. South Africa is doing very bad things, expropriating private property, using G20 to promote solidarity, equality, and sustainability. In other words, DEI and climate change. My job is to advance America's national interest, not waste taxpayer money or coddle anti-Americanism. They're pulling back from these crazy conferences that just want to promote stuff that we don't want to be involved in anymore. So he's not going. He furthermore went and did a statement. I guess this is a statement, just so you can see. I will not attend the G20 in Johannesburg, South Africa, because of what I just read to you a second ago. Because of what I just read to you a second ago. So this is starting to get real serious, and we're starting to see people around the world go, whoa, what's going on? Not sure if you saw earlier, but Javier Milei from Argentina, he decided today he's pulling out of the WHO as well. So Trump is having an impact across all over the world. And people are wondering what's going on because they can't count on American dollars anymore. Luckily. So, what can you do with this database called Data Republican? Well, Jeff Carlson here says, I used Data Republican tool. I searched for the term. He searched that term. $466 million he uncovered in the first 100 results, and the tool only limited it to 100. And he found 466 million. State health departments, city of New York, tons of universities, plenty outside of the U.S. as well. Almost 11 million for a clinic in Kenya, 3.6 million for a clinic in Colombia. 466 million of your money, just in the top 100 results that he pulled down. And people are digging and digging and digging. This is interesting. This is right below his post. Somebody comments and says, what's this all about in the Marshall Islands? And they're digging. I mean, you're not going to believe when we get to that tool and I start showing you what you can do. Yeah, some of you may not sleep tonight. Some of you may become journalists, real media. Basically, we're discovering that everything we've been fighting against, the media, the NGOs, censorship, tax-exempt organizations, special interest groups, BLM, the flow of newcomers, all of it has been funded here internally with your money. This is so bad. So bad. And I know some of you right now are going, this is so much. Oh, it continues on and on and on. How about this one for you? USAID has given over, and just so you know how many zeros that is, that's $2 billion to Gavi, the front organization for Bill Gates. You're seeing this? You're starting to grasp how bad it really is? $2 billion. I didn't know. I had no idea. I had no idea that we were giving away all this money. It's somebody says it's 10 times worse than we thought. I don't think we even know how many times worse it is so far, because we're still digging. I spent like 45 minutes on that tool, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me. I'll get to the tool in a second so you guys can start playing with it as well. Yeah, oh my God. These people can never win. We can never allow them to win another election. This must be broadcast and told to every single person you know. Wake them up, shake them by the back of their neck. They're stealing from us. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't understand. Yeah, I know you don't. You're not paying attention. Everything from the time you turn your car on and hit the radio station, everything you're told from that point on is a friggin' lie. Everything. If you're not finding out the information firsthand, or somebody's giving you the information that you can then go verify, don't even believe it. You can't believe it at this point. I'm Barry. I just opened X. Nope, it's not on X. So I'm going to show you how to get there. Elections need to be secured. Yeah, that's going to be a big thing as well. Bondi says she's about to release the Epstein list. That's crazy. If this corruption never took place, Americans would be so wealthy, which is probably why they had to have it take place. They had to do this because they had to keep taking your money. We would be so prosperous as a society. This is the tip. I don't even know how far back and how many years these databases are pulling from. But if what we're seeing now has been done over 10, 15, 20 years, just imagine how much more money would be in your pocket if you weren't paying 20, 30, 40, 50% for taxes. And it's all coming out right now. It's extremely massive. It's Pam Bondi's going to be all over it. You know it. Oh, somebody says it's spreading on Facebook. This is the worst thing for them. The worst thing for them is that people are starting to talk about it. The more people talk about it, the worse it's going to be. Breaking. Doge officials have officially entered the FBI headquarters to obtain the names of agents who worked J6 cases. So I don't even know who the Doge staff is. Everyone just talks about the 5 computer kids, the kids that are doing, algorithms and stuff like that. It appears as though they've put together an entire department. So thus far, I've been setting the table and just telling you some of the stuff that's out there. This one here, this is a big old steak. Well, if you can stomach it, because this is bad. People have been living like royalty with unimaginable salaries off the backs of working Americans to make their lives more difficult and pleasant. There's really no punishment that will set this straight. And what they're referring to is what this woman, Sarah Fields, and what she ended up finding is if you're not angry yet, you should be. Well, she went through and this tool I'm going to show you and found all these payments to all these different organizations, and they total just an immense amount of money. If you guys can see this, that's $628 million.
This is the Squirt Trade
Entity. 628 million. The numbers are staggering. They're numbers that people can't even wrap around. You can't put their hands around, their arms around. They can't even think. Are you telling me all this money has been taken out of our treasury and given to these people, and the Democrats are mad because people now know? It's crazy. How about this one for you? USAID provided $37 million for streetwalkers, their clients, and transformers in South Africa to get medicine and baby removals. Just let that sink in. People are getting $750 over in Appalachia if they could qualify for it, and they're giving $37 million to streetwalkers in South Africa. This is what this person pulled up. $37,673,000 so that streetwalkers, their clients, and transformers could get, that stuff done. And there it is. This is the data that you're going to be able to pull out. So you have the WTS, or whatever it is, WTS Health Consortium, which is another feeder band, gave $37 million to the Agency for International Development, USAID. Look when it ends. It doesn't even end until December 30th, 2025. So they're due to keep getting money throughout this year. Here's what it's for. Control in South Africa pivots on the success of providing appropriate services for key populations. And you can read a whole thing that I can't say here, but that's where your money is going. 30. Hey, let's call it 38 million. 38 million. It's bad. It's really bad. All right, so this is what people are talking about now. Brace yourselves. Doge has been working at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, where they have finally gotten access to key payment and contracting systems. Who thinks that the waste and fraud found here will be beyond staggering? Oh, by the way, that was at 1 o'clock p.m. So now that they have access to Medicare and Medicaid, what you're going to be seeing over the next couple of days is probably going to dwarf what we've seen thus far. Now, I don't even know what the collective number of all this money is. I don't know if anyone has a tracker like they do with the debt clock. How much money has USAID stolen? I don't know. It's hard to tell. It just keeps, it's got to be in tens of billions, and you keep seeing on the news, oh, it only makes up 4.1% of the budget. How do you know? How do you know? Because nobody showed you this stuff before. You have no idea. And of course, at that point, if you hear a news organization say that, I'm like, oh, wait a second, did y'all take money? Because if you took money, then basically you're just covering. Unreal. How about this one? $500,000 to study how to freeze frozen foods. This is, the recipient was the University of Tennessee. This money came from the Department of Agriculture and National Institute of Food and Agriculture. This is supposed to run until the end of this month, this is February 28, 2025. Want to show you how to freeze food. 469,000 to be exact. I rounded up to 500,000. Have no idea where it goes. I mean, we know where it goes. We have no idea what happens when it lands there. It's absolutely insane. This one. It is shocking, but perhaps not surprising, that the Biden-Harris administration used USAID, the agency whose purpose is to administer the funding of some international aid, to fund a left-wing organization that attacked the administration's opponents. If this is not prima facie corruption, what is it? What other media organizations does USAID fund? How about Wikipedia? The term prima facie is a term regarding criminal activity. That's a term that Miss Pam Bondi is going to be looking at. She is going to want to know, is this prima facie corruption, i.e. fraud? And Linda, or is it who responded? Linda Yaccarino, the president of X. The more Doge uncovers, more of their very scary truth comes into focus. For years, USAID has directly funded the media in their crusade against political opponents and free speech. And I'm only, halfway through at this point. It's epic. That's how Joe and Kamala got rich. This is how they all got rich. I think George Carlin said it a long time ago. It's a big club and you ain't in it. And now we're realizing, yeah, we're on the outside looking in. Who voted for AOC? Who voted for Elon Omar? Who voted for Cuba Presley? Who voted for Rashida Tlaib? How are these people in our government? Where did they get the funds to fund their campaigns? Who's donating to these people?
You know.
And I blame the Republicans because you never looked. Because the answer to that question, who funded these people's
Right in
campaign,
your face.
is you.
Right in
We're
your
finding out that they had access to our tax dollars, and we're finding different ways to route the money that they brought in from us just to satisfy what they needed to satisfy. And nobody say anything until Elon decided he was going to jump in and start bringing these kids in to write algorithms. And they've stepped into a honeypot of epic proportions. Epic. Is Lindsey Graham on the list of recipients? Yep, Lindsey Graham. This is cross-party. People that you thought you may, well, I don't think many people thought they could trust Lindsey Graham, but over 10, 15, 20 years, just imagine how much more money would be in your pocket if you weren't paying 20, 30, 40, 50% for taxes. And it's all coming out right now. It's extremely massive. It's Pam Bondi's going to be all over it. You know it. Somebody says it's spreading on Facebook. This is the worst thing for them. The worst thing for them is that people are starting to talk about it. The more people talk about it, the worse it's going to be. Breaking. Doge officials have officially entered the FBI headquarters to obtain the names of agents who worked J6 cases. So I don't even know who the Doge staff is. Everyone just talks about the 5 computer kids, the kids that are doing, algorithms and stuff like that. It appears as though they've put together an entire department. So thus far, I've been setting the table and just telling you some of the stuff that's out there. This one here, this is a big old steak. Well, if you can stomach it, because this is bad. People have been living like royalty with unimaginable salaries off the backs of working Americans to make their lives more difficult and pleasant. There's really no punishment that will set this straight. And what they're referring to is what this woman, Sarah Fields, and what she ended up finding is if you're not angry yet, you should be. Well, she went through and this tool I'm going to show you and found all these payments to all these different organizations, and they total just an immense amount of money. If you guys can see this, that's $628 million to one entity. 628 million. The numbers are staggering. They're numbers that people can't even wrap around. You can't put their hands around, their arms around. They can't even think. Are you telling me all this money has been taken out of our treasury and given to these people, and the Democrats are mad because people now know? It's crazy. How about this one for you? USAID provided $37 million for streetwalkers, their clients, and transformers in South Africa to get medicine and baby removals. Just let that sink in. People are getting $750 over in Appalachia if they could qualify for it, and they're giving $37 million to streetwalkers in South Africa. This is what this person pulled up. $37,673,000 so that streetwalkers, their clients, and transformers could get, that stuff done. And there it is. This is the data that you're going to be able to pull out. So you have the WTS, or whatever it is, WTS Health Consortium, which is another feeder band. gave $37 million to the Agency for International Development, USAID. Look when it ends. It doesn't even end until December 30th, 2025. So they're due to keep getting money throughout this year. Here's what it's for. Control in South Africa pivots on the success of providing appropriate services for key populations. And you can read the whole thing that I can't say here, but that's where your money is going. Let's call it 38 million. 38 million. It's bad. It's really, really bad. All right, so this is what people are talking about now. Brace yourselves. DOGE has been working at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, where they have finally gotten access to key payment and contracting systems. Who thinks that the waste and fraud found here will be beyond staggering?
Put this under your tongue to...
That was at 1 o'clock p.m. So now that they have access to Medicare and Medicaid, what you're going to be seeing over the next couple of days is probably going to dwarf what we've seen thus far. Now, I don't even know what the collective number of all this money is. I don't know if anyone has a tracker like they do with the debt clock. How much money has USAID stolen? I don't know. It's hard to tell. It just keeps, it's got to be in tens of billions, and you keep seeing on the news, oh, it only makes up 4.1% of the budget. How do you know? How do you know? Because nobody showed you this stuff before. You have no idea. And of course, at that point, if you hear a news organization say that, I'm like, hey, wait a second, did y'all take money? Because if you took money, then basically you're just covering. Unreal. How about this one? $500,000 to study how to freeze frozen foods. The recipient was the University of Tennessee. This money came from the Department of Agriculture and National Institute of Food and Agriculture. This is supposed to run until the end of this month, this is February 28, 2025. Want to show you how to freeze food. 469,000 to be exact. I rounded up to 500,000. Have no idea where it goes. I mean, we know where it goes. We have no idea what happens when it lands there. It's absolutely insane. This one. It is shocking, but perhaps not surprising, that the Biden-Harris administration used USAID, the agency whose purpose is to administer the funding of some international aid, to fund a left-wing organization that attacked the administration's opponents. If this is not prima facie corruption, what is it? What other media organizations does USAID fund? How about Wikipedia? The term prima facie is a term regarding criminal activity. That's a term that Miss Pam Bondi is going to be looking at. She is going to want to know, is this prima facie corruption, i.e. fraud? And Linda, who responded? Linda Yaccarino, the president of X. The more DOGE uncovers, more of their very scary truth comes into focus. For years, USAID has directly funded the media in their crusade against political opponents and free speech. And I'm only, halfway through at this point. It's epic. That's how when Joe and Kamala got rich. This is how they all got rich. I think George Carlin said it a long time ago. It's a big club and you ain't in it. And now we're realizing, yeah, we're on the outside looking in. Who voted for AOC? Who voted for Elon Omar? Who voted for Q-Ball Presley? Who voted for Rashida Tlaib? How are these people in our government? Where did they get the funds to fund their campaigns? Who's donating to these people? And I blame the Republicans because you never looked. Because the answer to that question, who funded these people's campaign, is you. We're finding out that they had access to our tax dollars, and we're finding different ways to route the money that they brought in from us just to satisfy what they needed to satisfy. And nobody was going to say anything until Elon decided he was going to jump in and start bringing these kids in to write algorithms. And they've stepped into a honeypot of epic proportions. Epic. Is Lindsey Graham on the list of recipients? Yep, Lindsey Graham took $130 million. This is cross-party. People that you thought you may have, well, I don't think many people thought they could trust Lindsey Graham, but now you know you can't. He took $130 million. We already knew about Doge and Kamala. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. Just open your eyes. It's everywhere. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next one I wanted to show you. That's Linda, and okay. Look at this one. Let me take down that comment so people can see. I'm just going to leave this one right here. CT Magazine. CT Magazine is Christianity Today. Christianity Today. They received almost $8 million. A magazine, Christianity Today. Altogether, like 9.6. I cannot believe that nobody had any approval over this. I cannot believe that the Democrats are complaining that we're seeing this. If it weren't for this database that people are now searching, which you're going to get to do, it's free too. So have some fun tonight. Have some fun. Cernovich says $35 million to the Kennedy Center, a far left-wing Democrat hangout club in New York City. Conservatives need not apply. Then the Kennedy Center pays salaries ranging from $500,000 to $1.5 million salaries. This is what you're paying for, what we've all been forced to fund. $35 million to the Kennedy Center. I could literally do this for the next hour. I'm not going to, because either you're going to get bored or you're going to get sick to your stomach realizing how bad people have been coming into your house, kicking your doors open, and taking whatever they want from you. And at the same time, you got half of our government out there screaming insane stuff because you're seeing it and you're asking questions. And you're gonna, send post over to the Kennedy Center and go, whoa, what the F? You're paying people $1.5 million a year, and you're pulling in $35 million from me? I didn't vote for that. You know how everyone's saying right now, I didn't vote for Elon. Did you vote for that? Tell me where anybody raised their hand and said, hey, let's give the Kennedy Center $35 million. Hey, let's give streetwalkers in South Africa $37 million because, they might be getting sick and they got to work. I didn't raise my hand for that. I never voted for that. Shouldn't we know what's being spent? This is why there's probably no budget. There's no budget because they don't want anybody looking at the budget. Where's the money go? How's it being spent? How do you lose $2 trillion like the Department of Defense? Oh, we just can't find it. You just can't find it and nobody says anything? That's okay. Just accept it, huh? $2 trillion gone. Must be nice. Why? Could I just take $2 trillion more? I don't care. I'll just take it from you guys. Then we start digging into the media stuff. Here's a fun fact. Politico is owned by Axel Springer, which in turn owns Business Insider, which publishes attack journalism whose targets have included Elon, still presidenting the state of Portnoy, my wife, he's talking about Neri Oxman, me, and others, so that the $8 million Politico received last year from USAID has been used to support the owner of Business Insider and his efforts. Sounds like a great and appropriate use of taxpayer money for international aid and development. And he was responding to Benny's post this morning about it being the biggest scandal in news media history. And then yesterday, no Politico employees got paid. They got no money. It got shut off. Which now you're going to see something happen with people in major media, because major media has been relying on this money as well. How much so? Let me jump ahead. I want to show you something that's going to absolutely. I didn't take it. Anyway, they've been funding Disney. They've been funding Disney with subscriptions to the Disney Channel. Just buying tons of subscriptions so people wouldn't notice, that they wouldn't see where. Let me see if I can dig that up. Disney funding, because that one blew me away. I worked at Disney, and it's absolutely crazy that that's what they've been doing. Let me see if I can find this. I'd have to look for it again, but they've been giving money to Disney, tons and tons and tons of money through subscriptions. Why? Why is Disney not self-sufficient? Why are they funneling money from our government, from your tax dollars, into a company as big as Disney? Here we go. Yeah, you'll like this one. I know Ashley's taking the kids down to Disney. It's going to make you sick to your stomach when you see this stuff. All right. USAID had 700,000 subscriptions to Disney. 700,000 paid for by USAID. Incidentally, when Trump came in office, Disney lost 700,000 plus subscribers. That money evaporated because it got turned off. 700,000 subscribers was paid for by USAID. For how long? I don't know. People are going to have to dig and figure that out. 700,000 subscribers, what's it? I don't know. I don't even know what it is per month. But we've been giving, or rather you've been giving Disney that money every single month. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But things are starting to happen on the other side of the coin too. Max exodus, it's up to 40,000. It was 20,000 yesterday. It doubled overnight. 40,000 federal workers take the Trump resignation buyout. More than 40,000 federal employees have accepted the Trump administration's deferred resignation offer, with the number climbing ahead of tomorrow's deadline. So that may get to 60,000. I don't know. A White House official confirmed the figure, while the Office of Personnel Management, who that lady was who just resigned, says resignations are rapidly growing. The administration had initially estimated 5 to 10% of the federal workforce might take the buyout, as Trump pushes to reshape the bureaucracy. Free fall. Absolute free fall at this point. There's nothing they can do. They're stuck. They don't want to go back to work. They know some of them have been working second jobs, and they're just going to have to bail. So it's, you know, he's going to win by basically default. Now here's one that's going to really piss you off. You ready for this one?
Adobe Acrobat AI Assistant.
Why did USAID give $68 million to the World Economic Forum? That's Klaus Schwab. That's Klaus Schwab in his voice. $68 million went to the WEF, an organization that absolutely hates us and has been trying to ruin Americans' lives for quite some time. $68 million. I just love Elon's response. Just a raised eyebrow. Just a raised eyebrow. That's all he could say about that. $68 million being paid to the WEF. Actually, paying money for people at this point who want to see our way of life just go away. I don't even know what to say with what we're seeing on a minute-by-minute basis. It kind of concerns me because I see what's happening. I'm reading it. I'm seeing what other people are saying. And people are going to disappear for this kind of money. They say Elon's had a number of death threats because of what's being uncovered. Chad Edwards says, since 2011, SEPS, I don't even know what SEPS is, has received $1.6 billion and distributed 100% of it to 3 different entities: the International Foundation for Electoral Systems, the International Republican Institute, the National Democrat Institute for International Affairs. Man, these people come up with some crazy names. Some absolute crazy names for the things that they're actually doing. And Data Republican says, you're unlikely to find an active politician directly receiving salaries that would be too obvious. For instance, consider this with SEPS, Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening, SEPS, a politically connected NGO that receives substantial USAID funding, $528 million worth of awards. Despite managing vast sums of money, SEPS doesn't report paying a single salary. It is truly a pass-through. On the surface, this seems financially illogical. The takeaway, compensation can take forms that don't show up in traditional accounting. And, they're just going through. So far, 0 compensation for Paul Ryan because Paul Ryan was a part of that organization, SEPS. These people who hated Trump and the different things they did and how they did them. How did these people get so rich? Now you're finding out. Again, all of it is verifiable. So now I'm going to take you, before I do that, I got a breaking thing that Benny put up. The Department of State announces the United States ships can go through the Panama Canal for free. Millions of dollars per year will be saved. The government of Panama has agreed to no longer charge fees for U.S. government vessels to transit the Panama Canal. This saves the U.S. government millions of dollars per year. Brooksuit says U.S. government ships equal Navy and other military support ships as well. I gotta hit it. I gotta hit the button.
We're gonna win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
So in less than 2 weeks, Trump has been able to turn things around where now we get to go through the Panama Canal for free. Absolutely for free. You gotta love that. You gotta love this guy who in less than 2 weeks has made everybody realize pay up. So after this quick read, this couple of sponsor reads here, I'm going to take you through the actual database. So let me talk to you about the kids guide for President Trump. President Trump said he wants to teach our kids to love our country. And
ladies and gentlemen, it just keeps getting worse. And that's just from USAID, U.S. aid. In the coming days, get ready for the inventory to be disclosed for Medicaid, Medicare, Department of Education, and I think there's one more. The 3-letter agencies, they're going to start auditing. That's all that's happening. They're just following where the money went. So I don't know why you Democrats, you black Democrats, I didn't hear not one entity that was for blacks. all these companies, all these people getting this money, tax money, and nobody knows why. So tune in, guys, for future recordings of, I think it's Medicaid and Medicare. They're going to audit them. And the Department of Education. Those two are next. This is your boy Doug. Y'all have a blessed Thursday.